In today's video, we'll be covering 6 things that you can do to make a full flight as smooth as possible, as well as sharing some major mistakes to avoid on your next trip. Every major airline has an app that is going to be free to download and is going to be key to staying informed during your trip. The app is the first place to check things like flight status, so you'll be updated if there is a delay or even a cancellation. It's great to know this prior to showing up at the airport. And once at the airport, passengers with the app are going to be the first to know if there are things like flight delays or gate changes, and even be notified when the flight begins boarding. With many airline apps, you can even check in online and then select your seat for free. Many major airlines have also moved to contactless payment, which means no credit cards, no cash, and no tap from your phone is going to be accepted for purchases on board. The only way to make a purchase is if you download the app in advance and then upload a form of payment. And if I haven't already convinced you to download and use the airline's app, another benefit is that if you have a connecting flight, you can often connect to the airplane's Wi-Fi while in flight via the app for free, and then be able to check on things like the status of your next flight or even which gate it's going to be departing from. Knowing where to go to catch a connecting flight can be the difference of missing or making that flight. In addition to downloading the app, one more thing that you'll want to do before heading to the airport is to prepare for the likely situation that your carry-on suitcase might have to be checked. And the best way to prepare for having your suitcase checked would be to travel with a quality carry-on suitcase. I cannot stress this enough. Checked bags are tossed around, left unattended, and exposed to all kinds of weather. I used to think that it was a waste of money to invest in a good carry-on suitcase since I always had it with me and just treated it delicately. I unfortunately learned the hard way that it is a very big mistake to not invest in a quality carry-on suitcase. I ended up being forced to check mine for the first time on a flight home from Vietnam a few years ago. The suitcase ended up coming apart in the process and I lost everything. This was bound to happen eventually, as I've taken dozens more flights since this experience, and every single one in the last few years has required passengers to check their carry-on suitcases, at least a few passengers, because there just simply is not enough overhead bin space for the full flights. Let us know down in the comments if you have ever been asked to check your carry-on suitcase. When it comes to choosing a carry-on suitcase, a great option is the Carry-On Pro by Carl Friedrich, who are very kindly sponsoring this video. This suitcase is carry-on approved size with a lightweight polycarbonate shell made from recycled materials. It also features a zipperless aluminum frame that is ultra durable. This suitcase is not coming apart, even if it ends up being checked. You'll also love the silent spinner wheels and the external hard shell pocket for easy access to your laptop. This makes going through airport security a breeze. They ship worldwide, and every purchase includes both a lifetime warranty and a 100-day risk-free trial. Be sure to check the link in the description for the Carl Friedrich Carry-On Pro that I have here. Now let's go back to that overhead bin space and how you can get the best chance at getting some space for yourself. You likely have a seat number assigned, but you do not have overhead bin space reserved. Overhead bin space is on a first-come, first-served basis, and therefore, you're going to want to board the flight as soon as possible to have the best chance at having a free spot. Keep in mind that international flights board 45 minutes before the flight's departure time. You will likely be assigned a boarding zone, which you can find on your boarding pass. Be ready, without crowding the gate area, to line up and board the plane the moment the gate agent calls your zone for boarding. Getting on the plane as soon as you possibly can is going to give you the best chance at having free space in the overhead bin for your suitcase. Another pro tip to board as quickly as possible would be to carry both a mobile boarding pass on your phone as well as a physical printed boarding pass. Sometimes there are 2 separate boarding lines depending on the pass that you have. Having both of these, both a physical and a digital, means that you can pick whichever line is moving quickly and not get rejected and sent to the back of the line if you end up in the mobile boarding pass and have a physical pass, or vice versa. And a bonus tip here is that before you line up to board the plane, head to the window and take a quick peek outside. Sometimes you end up boarding onto a bus and then the bus is going to drive you to the airplane. If you end up boarding the bus first, it means you will likely get off the bus last, which means you'll be getting onto the plane last. Another tip to secure overhead bin space is to not wait until you get to your seat to begin scoping out free space, but instead be checking as you board the flight for any overhead space that you see ahead of your seat. Flight attendants will tell you that bin space is a shared space, so it's okay if you take the bin above someone else's seat. Someone is likely doing the same for your seat. Always aim for bin space that is either at your seat or further up on the plane. If you put your carry-on in the overhead bin that is behind your seat, you will need to wait for all of the passengers behind you to get off the plane before you are able to go back there and get your carry-on suitcase and then get off the plane yourself. This is going to leave you delayed. And even with your best effort, you may be one of the lucky passengers that is asked to check their carry-on suitcase, which isn't that big of a deal if you have a quality suitcase as mentioned earlier. Just be sure to remove your essentials from your carry-on and place them into your personal item bag before checking your carry-on suitcase. Think about the things that you will want access to on the plane, as well as the things that you may need for the first few days at your destination, like your devices and their charging cords, your medication, and even a change of clothes for arrival. You want to prepare with all of your essentials in your personal item backpack and not in the suitcase that is being checked, just in the case that the suitcase ends up being lost or even delayed in arriving at your destination. When traveling in peak season, you also don't want to be relying on the airline service because things are not always available to you as you would expect. Long-haul international flights with most major airlines will still have drinks and a meal included in your ticket. However, the service may suffer when the plane is full. The meal might take a long time to get to you, and there may be very little choice by the time it does. Same goes for the availability of drinks. Pack your own snacks or meals from home and remember that anything, including drinks of any size, that you purchase at the airport after going through security can be carried with you onto the plane. So at the very least, fill a water bottle up at a fountain so you have your own supply for the flight. In addition to the food service being affected by a full flight, you may also end up at a seat that has a broken entertainment system or a broken USB charging slot. The trouble is that because the plane is full, there is no new seat for you to move to have access to a functioning system or charging port. You can check Seat Guru for a heads up on any seats that have broken parts for the exact flight that you are on so you know which seat not to pick. But then again, if there are just no other seats available, you will be out of luck. Be prepared by bringing your own entertainment downloaded onto your device, such as shows downloaded from Netflix or podcasts that you enjoy listening to, as well as ensuring that your devices are fully charged prior to boarding the plane. Don't forget to check the description for a link to Carl Friedrich's Carry-On Pro, and then hit that subscribe button to join us back here for more travel tips and hacks next week. Safe travels. Bye.